evening, everybody, and welcome to Northgate High School, where the Broncos take on the Knights. And tonight, it's senior night here. A couple of teams headed toward the playoffs. But right now, Dan, both these teams kind of struggling and really just looking for a win.
Yeah, both teams are playoff eligible, which is nice for them, but they're still going to have to win some games, or they're going to end up with having to play a number one seed or something down the line. That's not going to be too good. Las Lomas scores a little bit more. Northgate's a better defensive team. It's the Battle of the Creek. Should be a lot of fun.
Now let's turn it over to Brandon Enriquez for the announcement of the seniors.
Let's welcome our 10 senior student athletes and recognize their accomplishments on the soccer field, in the classroom, and our community. Our first senior is Nicholas Brucker. He is being escorted by his mother, Denise, and his father, Jeremy. Nicholas is a 4-year soccer player at Northgate. He is also a standout in the classroom that has been recognized in 4 consecutive soccer seasons as NCS Scholar Athlete. When Nicholas graduates in June, he will be studying business at University of Oregon or San Diego State University. When asked about his memories of Northgate soccer, Nicholas listed 2: winning competitions against the Northgate coaching staff, as well as the brotherhood and family of Northgate soccer. According to Nicholas, he is grateful and says the following: "I would like to thank the coaches for influencing my maturity as both a high school student and athlete, for giving me the opportunity to represent and play for Northgate soccer, and his family. He would like to thank them, his teammates, friends, and most importantly, his family for the motivation, love, and memories they have provided over the years. Thank you, Nicholas." Our next senior is Evan Bowman. Evan is escorted by his parents, Sonia and Brent. A 4-year soccer athlete, 3 years on JV, and 1 year on our varsity team. Evan is also a standout 4-year lacrosse player at Northgate. He may be the most academically gifted student athlete on this year's team, with a GPA of 4.0. He's also had 4 straight years of being an NCS Scholar Athlete and extremely involved on campus activities as the president of the Madrigals, president of the Applied Science Association, and a member of the National Honor Society. After graduation in June, Evan is loading up on the cold weather here as he heads to Northwestern University and majors in mechanical engineering. Evan cites the most memorable moment in the soccer program at Northgate was our trip to Asilomar earlier this season. Finally, Evan is grateful towards his parents for always sticking on his side and supporting him through his high school journey. Thank you, Evan. Next up, Dante Moreno. Dante is being escorted by his family, which includes his mother, Lisa Bachetti Moreno, father, Tony Moreno, brother, Gino, and sisters, Desiree and Gianna. A 4-year soccer player, he's also a stellar student athlete and has been placed 4 times as the coveted Northgate North Coast Scholar Athlete Award recipient. Dante has also been a football trainer for 2 years in the Northgate Sports Medicine program, and he has been nominated as a ROP Student of the Year. Life at Northgate for Dante has him declaring his major in biology and is planning on attending Oregon State University or the University of Oregon. The most memorable moment for Dante in our soccer program was this year's Asilomar trip with his teammates, as he's made memories with both his brothers that will last a lifetime. Dante is grateful for his sports medicine teacher, Glenn Barker, who has helped him choose a field he is interested in as pursuing for a career. His parents were always pushing him to strive for greatness, and all his coaches at Northgate who have helped him become the player and person he is today. Thank you, Dante. Our 4th Bronco is Alex Delgadillo. Escorting Alex tonight is his father, Ismael, and brothers, Andres and Diego. Alex is a standout in the classroom and on the field. He has been in the soccer program for 4 years, 2 of which on the varsity team, and he is a 4-time NCS Scholar Athlete. He's also a California Scholastic Federation and National Honor Society, as well as Northgate Link Crew Student Educator. Life at Northgate has Alex deciding on San Diego State, UC Santa Barbara, or Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, where he will be studying biology. His most memorable moments as a Northgate soccer player is beating College Park 1-0 as a junior, and the Asilomar field trip. Alex is also grateful for his parents and the sacrifices they have made for him and all the support and love they have given him. His teachers and coaches for always pushing him to do the best and teaching him the values of hard work, dedication, and tenacity, and the brotherhood and memories he has made with this team that we'll cherish forever. Thank you, Alex. Our fifth senior is Will Reuter. Will is being escorted by his mother, Susan, and father, Brian. A 4-year soccer player at Northgate, Will has been on the varsity team for the past 2 seasons and possesses a wicked left foot. Active on campus, Will is a member of Northgate's NASA Club and also a 4-time NCS Scholar athlete. Upon graduation, Will is considering several California State University colleges as well as local community colleges. Will states his most memorable moment in soccer at Northgate is playing in a torrential downpour in the first round of NCS playoff game at Montgomery High School last season. When asked what Will is grateful for as a Northgate soccer player, he says, "I am grateful for all the coaches and how they have shown me the process of becoming an athlete as well as a young adult. I am also grateful for my parents because they will always try to lead me in the right direction. Thank you, Will." Our sixth senior is Rourke Hatfield. Rourke is being escorted by his mother, Susan, father, Dan, and 2 sisters, Reagan and Riley. On the field, Rourke has spent 2 years on our junior varsity team and 2 years on the varsity team. He's led the team in the most colorful soccer boot selection and his deft touch on the ball. In the classroom, Rourke has done well in narrowing his college choices to Oregon State University, Colorado State University, and the University of Arizona. When asked what his most memorable soccer program experience was, Rourke says the team trip to Asilomar and hiding Andrew Vanilla's strawberry cream soda. Rourke would also like to extend his gratefulness to his parents for supporting him and being there to push him, his coaches for getting the best out of him, and his teammates for the unbelievable brotherhood and bond we've shared over the last 4 years as a Bronco. Thank you, Rourke. Our next senior is Dylan Burke. Dylan is being escorted by his mother, Greer Burke, and stepfather, Michael Nick Quiller. Dylan is a 3-year varsity player and also played 1 year on our JV team as a freshman. No stranger to the weight room, Dylan is considered the strongest Bronco in our soccer program and has excelled in the classroom as a 2-time NCS Scholar athlete. Upon graduation, Dylan will decide between the University of Nevada, Reno, or Northern Arizona University, and will study general business in Spanish. When asked what his most memorable moment for soccer at Northgate, Dylan cites 2, scoring my first goal for the varsity team as junior against Mount Diablo, spending time at Asilomar with his teammates. When asked what he's grateful for as a graduating senior soccer player, he states, "I am grateful for the opportunity to play for Northgate soccer all 4 years of high school. The friends I've made and the memories I've experienced as some of the most memorable moments I will carry with me for the rest of my life. I am thankful for the support and guidance from my parents and siblings as well as all the coaches in the program, including Scott, Gabe, and John Carr. I'm especially thankful for Coach Chappell for instilling me with the team environment where I felt a sense of both family and discipline that I will never forget. Thank you, Dylan." Our 8th senior is Captain Nick Giannini. Escorting Nick tonight is his mother, Ann, father, Dominic, and brothers, Joe, Anthony, and Christopher. Nick is a 3-year varsity player, 2-time All-League selection, and 2-time NCS Scholar Athlete awardee, and was All-League his junior year. According to Nick, life after Northgate includes deciding between Humboldt State University and Colorado Mesa University, where he hopes to continue his soccer journey. 2 of Nick's most memorable moments in Northgate soccer were scoring the winning goals against College Park and scoring from the kickoff against St. Mary's. Nick would like to thank his parents for supporting him and watching all of his games over the past 4 years, and would like to thank the coaching staff for making him the player he is today. Thank you, Nick. Our 9th senior is goalkeeper and captain, Zachary Lamb. Escorting Zachary tonight is his mother, Susan, and his father, Mark. Zach leaves Northgate as one of the best goalkeepers in our program's history, 4 years in the soccer program, 3-year varsity starter. He's a 3-time All-League selection and has been a 4-time NCS Scholar athlete. Superior student athlete, still deciding on his soccer choice schools, but UC Santa Cruz and Cal Poly San Luis Obispo are the front runners. Zach credits his most memorable moments in the soccer program were playing soccer, tennis, and football on the beach in Pacific Grove during our Asilomar trip. He would like to share, I am very grateful for all the support my parents have given me during my 4 years at Northgate Soccer. I am also grateful for all the coaches taking their time to help me get better in soccer and as a person, especially Coach Carr for making me a better goalkeeper. Grateful for Coach Chappell devoting almost all his time to our team and making us better. Thank you, Zach. And our final senior to be recognized tonight is Captain, Central Defender, Adrian Ortiz. Adrian is being escorted by his mother, Cecilia, father, Dennis, and brother, Andreas. A 4-year member of our soccer program and 3-time varsity starter and 3-time All-League player. He also excels in the classroom and is a 4-time NCS Scholar athlete. Next stop for Adrian is college soccer, and he is considering several D1 and D2 schools, including San Jose State University. His most memorable moment in his 4-year soccer program at Northgate is when his team hid Andrew's strawberry cream soda during the Asilomar trip. Adrian would like to express his gratefulness as he was able to spend his last year of soccer with such an amazing team who would push him to be a better soccer player. Also grateful for a coaching staff who has always worked hard and never took play off. Thank you, Adrian. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our senior night ceremony. Thank you for your support and best of luck to tonight's teams. But let's give a nice big round of applause to our graduating class of 2017.
But you guys know, the contacts are made. Once the contact is made, let us decide what we're going to call back or what we're going to allow flow, right? Because that's what we want the flow of the game, okay? So we work as leaders. Now, the final thing is, you know your knuckleheads. You know your knuckleheads. Keep them at bay. If we work it that way, we're good. If not, I still got Valentine's Day cards to give out, so, you know, I got a red, nice Valentine's Day card. I don't want to give it out, so you guys keep them in check. We go that way, right? Final thing, coin toss. To the home team, visitors. That's heads, tails. Heads. It is tails. It is tails. What would you like? Take ball? Which side would you like to? Defender. Switch sides, Northgate, you guys go that way. Guys, get lined up for the national anthem. Get you guys lined up for the national anthem and rock and roll. Alright, do your thing. Good luck, gentlemen. Good luck, brother. Good luck. Good luck. Good luck. Big Red, do your thing, man. Good luck. There you go, man. Bye, brother. Have some fun out there. Good luck. I do. Have some fun out there. Hey, how are you?
And back at Northgate High School, Anthony Schultz along with Dan Wall. And a beautiful, clear night here, Dan. Actually, not very cold. Kind of a nice night to be out here.
Tony, we've been lucky the last 2 weeks because we've broadcast games right before the storm hits, and now we're getting another one tomorrow. So let's hope this one gets in and we can all be safe, because tomorrow on Thursday, and when you'll be watching this on tape later, so you won't know. But tonight's Wednesday night, February the 8th, I think it is. Yeah, it's not far from I should know this because my birthday's coming up. But and once again, just so we can let everyone know, no, we can't see Northgate's numbers. They're wearing yellow on white again. Now, if you look out, if you want to know how to do numbers, look at Las Lomas' numbers right there as the ref is explaining. So here, this guy turns, look at that, number 8. Now look at over here on the white jersey, and it's number. Now you can see that there. So Matt, just follow number 5 for the entire night, and we shouldn't have any problems.
I hope he has a great game.
And you know another thing, when you do like international soccer, they have like crazy hairdos that you can like identify a guy from his hair. Everyone's got the same hairdo.
And we are underway. The Las Lomas Knights coming in at 2-4-2, 10-8-3 overall. The Northgate Broncos 0-3-5 in League 7-3-8 overall. And as Dan alluded to in the open, both these teams probably headed toward the NCS, but a couple wins wouldn't hurt them, Dan. And then Sunday, of course, will be the selection day as far as who will be in the playoffs.
Well, Northgate has not won a game in regulation since the 4th of January when they beat Alameda. On the 25th of January was the last win for Las Lomas over Campo Lindo in a league game. So that means that even that is over 2 weeks ago. So these teams have not. Now, there's been some ties in there. Last time they played, they tied 1-1. So this is the proverbial kind of rubber match here. But you look at their records. I don't know what they do with these ties, but they have more ties than they have wins at Northgate. So they're 7-3 in regulation, regulation matches that did not end in a tie.
And here's one toward midfield. Both these teams, as Dan and I have mentioned, struggling right now. Here's one, and Zach Lamb will pick that one up. So Las Lomas with a shot on goal, but there's Zach Lamb, who's had himself a very fine career, and I'm told that he will be playing either Division I or Division II soccer when his high school career is done.
And Zach's very easy to identify. Not only is he nice and tall, but he has that striking red hair. And he's the goalie. It kind of stands out with that yellow jersey.
The gloves and the yellow jersey.
Kind of stands out.
That makes it a little easier. Mm-hmm. Here are the Knights trying to work it through, coming from the far side. See if they can get a centering pass. They cannot, but right to Zach Lamb, who makes the catch. And when he punts the ball, he can really go about 3/4 of the field and put his team into offensive position right away. And here we go. This one high will bounce just beyond midfield. There come a couple of headers. They joust for it here on the sideline. It goes out of bounds, and a throw in here for the Knights. So Las Lomas, coached by Kurt Adkins. And Dan, he's in his first year as a head coach here, but a lot of coaching experience for Kurt.
46 years, Tony. That's amazing. As I mentioned, even if he started in his teens, he's got to be in his 60s. But so that's a lot of coaching experience. And kind of unusual to come back to a varsity high school program that late in your coaching career. But good for him, and good for the Knights.
And here they go, kick the other way, and this will be tapped back to Grant Darling, the Las Lomas goalie. So he gets his first bit of action here tonight. Now whistle stops play.
Get offsides on the far sideline.
Yeah, the Knights will have a chance to with a free kick. So Selection Sunday coming up this weekend, Dan. Going to find out who's going to be in the playoffs. Or actually, a lot of teams know they're going to be in the playoffs. It's really kind of all about who's going to get what seed. And for these teams, a couple of wins here to finish out the season could mean the difference between, say, a 9th spot and a 16th spot. And
well, it could mean you play a little bit lesser of an opponent in the first round. Maybe you get through. Maybe you get a home game. It's weird. Max Preps, they always rate teams, even though I don't know how you really do it. once you get past like maybe the top 20 or 30. But Northgate, I think, was rated 241st in the state, but Las Lomas was 392nd. Now, who makes those decisions over there at the Max Preps? I mean, is there a room where there's two guys in there going, oh, by the way, Mount Diablo's 428th.
No.
And Novato's 429th.
We're going to move them from the 320 position to the 319
yeah,
position.
How does that work?
Probably less than scientific.
I checked the Max Preps top 25, and the only team from around here that's in the top 25 in the state is San Ramon. So, and I know that I saw a couple of results. I don't know if either of these two teams have played them, but someone from this league has played them.
And that last one headed away, and now whistle stopping action, and the Knights will have a chance to boot this one. Steve Chappell, in his 6th year. 5 years previous to that, he had been the JV head man. Last year for the Broncos, 9-10-4. They were 5th in the league. And the year before, he took over this club. The Broncos won just one game, and 500 or better 5 of the 6 years during his tenure. Made the NCS, Dan, 5 years in a row. And that should continue this year. This year being the 5th year.
Well, Las Lomas has scored a lot more goals. They've almost doubled the output, 42 goals for, 31 against. And the disparity there is that Northgate's only scored 21, but they've only given up 10. 10 goals in 18 matches. So defensively, they are much better. At least, but when they played a game, they tied 1-1. So we'll see what happens here tonight.
Yeah, goals tough to come by.
And, amazingly, Northgate has not won a game in league. They're 0-3-5. But we also know that depending on what division you play in, you throw out the games against other divisions when it comes to the playoffs. So if you played a bunch of D1 teams, those results don't really count. It's what happens against teams in your division.
Zach Lamb kicking it toward midfield. Here come the Knights racing up the field down the far side. Can't they get that crossing pass? And they cannot. Northgate able to bust that up, and now trying to turn the other way. And here's a one-on-one battle down the far sideline. You're going to joust for it on the side. And nicely played by Las Lomas.
I actually could see that number 11 over there. It looks like that is Nick Giannini, who's the leading goal scorer. 9
goals on the year for Nick. Andrew Reese, number 16, able to break that one up for Las Lomas. Here's the throw-in from the corner, headed away by the Knights. And now they'll boot this one out of bounds again.
I really wanted to say number 11 by Las Lomas, Tony. Georgi Antas, it's Atanasov, who sounds like a left wing for the Sharks, who they just called up. But there's a couple. There's also a Kazanstev. So
yeah,
a couple of
like
guys
a
from the
player.
a couple of guys with a little bit of a either European or perhaps Russian background.
Oh, here's a nice kick coming here from the Knights to get this one out of their end.
Or Kazansense. It's weird, those names. Sometimes, Tony, we just don't have enough time to prepare for the weirdness of high school soccer.
Well, turned over here, and now Las Lomas with a chance. Can they get a crossing pass? And they do, and this one's going to be just wide to the right. Boy, they had number 10 for Las Lomas. That's Miles Ramos that was bearing down. He got the pass, but could not hook it goalward, and he missed wide to the right.
Yeah, Nick Serdan tried to provide that pass to him inside. Lamb, as we've seen Lamb a couple of years now, and he's very mobile, very agile, can get to those balls.
He sure can.
And he has the build of a goalie that can move on and play at the next level.
Oh. There's a diving play and a player for Las Lomas landing on the ground. This one will go out of bounds. So Zach Lamb, they say the best in the league, 6'3", 175 pounds, long, athletic, and strong. Plays with both feet, a great distributor.
I'm glad he plays with both feet, Tony, because it would be unusual to see a goalie just play on one, even if he has two.
Able to play the ball with both feet.
Thank you, Tony, for clarifying that.
He just hops around like a pogo stick.
I was going to say, he plays on both feet. Well, good for him. Glad to hear it.
And the way he can actually kick the ball after hopping on one foot is amazing. Very talented.
You'd think he'd be tired after hopping on one foot, but that foot tends to get stronger.
This one breaks out down the side. Here comes Northgate. Nice move to get away from a defender, but then runs into a pair. That's always the tough thing about soccer here. But there's a nice pass coming back the other way. So some quick action here. And Nick Serdan trying to get a centering pass. There it is.
Well, we had that same formation coming down the right wing. Serdan looking again for Ramos and could not get it in, and then it was cleared, and now we have a stoppage. I think we have a shoe problem. And we're going to have a substitute. Just to explain to everyone, if you're joining us for the first time, in high school you can substitute freely. You don't have a limit of 3 players you can substitute for.
So here's Andrew Reese. So he'll get a free kick here. Launches this one goalward, bouncing around. Couple of headers in there, and the Knights trying to keep it in. And the Broncos going to play this one away, and nicely played by Evan Bowman, number 3. Knocked that one out of bounds. And even though we haven't really had the quality shot on goal, Dan, we certainly have seen the action move up and down the field at a nice pace.
Mm-hmm. And Grant McCarter joins the play, and as you referenced him, Tony, as the future of the Northgate.
Super sophomore for this club. There's a nice spinning kick right there by the Knights, but they're not going to be able to chase this one down before it goes across the end line.
You know, I think the suggestion we need to make, Tony, is that when Northgate wears their alternate home jerseys, that they have red numbers. So if they want to wear the yellow numbers,
it should be a little
we're
strong.
not here.
I think it should be a little stronger than a suggestion.
Just us and a red marker.
Hey, do you mind if we see the numbers? Is that really too much to ask?
Oh, I tell stories all the time about crazy. One of the great stories of all times when it comes to sports and numbers and such was in the NHL back in the 60s when they tried to get people to put names on the jerseys. And the Toronto Maple Leafs owner back in the day was he was almost like an Al Davis guy. Never wanted to do anything that the league suggested. So he came out the first night and they didn't have the names on the back of the jerseys. He said, sure, they're there. They were in the same color as the jersey. So they had to change that rule too. Well, they have to be so we can read them. So yeah, they go through tests and stuff to see what can be seen on television and marketing. You should see the MLS starts in a month, and virtually every year they change their jerseys. Every year there's something different, and already 4 or 5 teams have changed. And it's not like they change their colors or logo, but the little accents here and there, or they change the color of the sleeve to this, or they have added a anniversary mark or something. It's actually kind of ingenious the way they do it. One team, the Colorado Rapids, and I actually bought this jersey because I got a good deal on it, listed all of their season ticket holders like almost in subliminal print on their jersey. It's really cool, to think that they would honor their season ticket holders like that. But there's some really cool stuff that goes on in that. And nowadays, you have to have 42 jerseys to play.
Here come the Knights on the attack, but plenty of white shirts back there to defend for the Broncos. Can somebody get off a shot? And there you saw a situation right there as this one pinballs off a Northgate player and goes out of bounds. Just the offense sometimes coming down into the zone when they have a chance to score, Dan. So many times they are just surrounded by opponents.
Well, that's one of the things about soccer that's a little tough to makes it a little tougher to score is that and you can't. It's not as quick as transition in basketball and hockey and stuff like that, where if you play in a bunch of guys, you can still get back on defense with a couple of people. As you can see, if you see the back of the field right now, Las Lomas has 4 guys guarding 2 Northgate guys. Their entire defensive back line was standing at midfield. So you're not really giving yourself a number advantage if you have, if you're not adding a defensive player into the mix. So look right now, they have 5 guys versus 9 Northgate players. That's not good odds for the offense.
Ben Brolin sending this one down the far side. Again, the Knights cannot chase it down before it gets to the end line. That was Tim Weldinger, number 15, trying to keep pace. But Zach Lamb's going to have a chance to kick this one to a teammate. But right now, Las Lomas, if dominating is too strong of a word, but certainly the action has been much more so has been down in this area of the field than it has in the opposing side.
And it plays out to what we had last week, if you remember. Almost all the action was on this side of the field, which I think means the field is tipped towards the right. I think it's downhill.
Bit of a slant.
Just a little bit, because the girls, remember, scored 3 goals down here last week against Clayton Valley, and even in the second half, it seemed like Clayton Valley got their offense going a little bit more when the ball was going in this direction. So, yeah, our buddy back there, Grant Darling, who has attended the Cal Berkeley camp under Henry Falk, who's a great goalie coach, he hasn't had to do much back there right now. He could probably mix up a cup of tea and sit down on his chair.
Well, he's got to, keep loose, stretch out and everything, but because he's going to get stiff just standing there. There's a swing and a miss by one of the Knights. They're going to keep it in the zone, and this one popped up into the air.
Yeah, you got to wonder if sometimes if the goalie down there and he doesn't see any action, he's like, hey, misplay a ball so I can make a save. I need to move a little bit. I wonder if they think that. We'll ask him.
So Northgate taking a look at their game log. They won 4 of 5 to start the year, Dan, including a 7-0 win at Pacific Grove on December the 2nd. Pair of ties in the early going at Alhambra, at Acalanes. They were 6-0-3 before their first loss, which came against College Park on January the 6th. Until that point, Dan, they had not yielded a goal in that part of the season. But since, like we had talked about earlier, they've struggled from January the 11th onward, Dan, 0-2-5. The losses came against the Warriors at home and in Concord to the Eagles. And to finish out the season, the Broncos will be at YV, and that'll be Friday night. This one kicked in, knocked away. Boy, that was close there.
It just the English of the ball did not. I don't know if he could have got his head on that. That was our trusty producer, Matt Bolander. Matt, I don't have any hearing to begin with, so you can't. You can't get rid of it. Those rock concerts have robbed me of my hearing ability.
This ball staying in the air. Trading headers are the two clubs. To the far side it goes.
Oh, so, Tony, I did do, since we got an out-of-bounds, little research for all the fans who joined us last week. The new Atlanta team in the MLS will play in the Falcon Stadium. They're not
new Falcon Stadium.
Yeah, they are not building them their own stadium because it's domed. And Minnesota is going to play the first 2 years in the Viking Stadium, but they are building them an outdoor stadium in St. Paul, which will be under construction early next year. So this MLS expansion thing is crazy. You know, there's 12 cities trying to get into the MLS right now, and there's 24 teams.
Wow.
Already in the MLS. So you could have up to 30 teams, which is pretty much equal to the rest of the sports leagues by 2020.
Well, 32 in the NFL.
Are you counting the 49ers as one? Just wanted to say.
You have to. Kind of seems like with some of those teams are so bad that maybe they should have to go play a season in Canada.
Yeah. Bring the Calgary Stampeders into the NFL. We'll see how that works.
Toward midfield, and here the Knights dropping this one in.
He got
Ben
by
Borland, one of the captains, and now we have a shot here. Kick back. There's a shot on goal, but right to Zach Lamb, who makes the easy pickup that time. And on that shot for the Knights, Zach Wilson, and that unfortunately went right to Lamb, and Lamb certainly hasn't, first couple of punts haven't been as far as they tell me that he can kick. And I think last year we did see it when he would punt the ball. It was like instant offense for his club.
You can turn it around and get it down to about the 40-yard line, and it's only a couple more passes after that until you're in the danger zone. Just at this point, it looks like Las Lomas' defense and defending is a little quicker on the ball than what is happening at Northgate. The thing I guess Northgate is doing is once they do have a chance, the Las Lomas team, they're limiting their ability to really get a good quality scoring chance because Lamb has been able to get in front of it and make those saves, but he hasn't really faced a really tough shot yet.
No, he's got a couple of saves officially now, but certainly nothing that's above routine, I wouldn't say. And here's Grant will handle this one on a hop. Gets a couple of oohs and ahs from the crowd, but turns out to be a rather routine play for him.
I think they were shocked that he actually moved over there.
He gives a nice high punt.
They were thinking, is that their goalie?
Yeah, well played by Las Lomas. Couple of nice passes there, but then broken up by the Broncos, and here they come the other way. Just going to barely stay on side that time as they can't chase it down on the sideline.
They're not able to get that wing pass out and get the offensive player. And in that case, I think that's number 10.
And I'm trying to see that.
Ivan Ostapenko. There's another guy. These are some great names tonight.
Well, that was number 16, Andrew Reese. Had he come upfield a little bit more, that would have been an offsides penalty against the Broncos, but he stayed back on defense, and lucky for him, the ball went out of bounds. Well, the Broncos may have had a scoring opportunity on that last one.
Number 4, Josh Marquez for Las Lomas. He's causing a lot of problems in midfield for Northgate. He's not able to get a lot of consecutive passes because he's breaking stuff up, playing in that midfield slot right there.
So the Knights, fairly balanced team in terms of their classes, mostly seniors and juniors. Usually start 3 to 5 seniors, Dan.
You know, it would be an interesting rule. You know, they always talk about making more offense in soccer, you know.
We've talked about it a number of times.
I just noticed it on that rule right there. What if you, when you kick the ball, you know, in hockey, if you send the ball over the boards in your defensive zone, it's a penalty. What if you made it to where the ball goes back to where it was kicked out of bounds as opposed to where it lands out of bounds, keeping the offense more down there? So if you're just going to boot it out of bounds, you're going to get penalized by you get the ball back near your offensive zone as opposed to at midfield. That might be an interesting rule change you could make without sacrificing a lot in the game.
And here's Grant booting this one into offensive position. Can somebody get there? They can. But then tripping and falling that time was Ben Borland. He had a shot at that one, Dan, but could not keep his footing.
The bigger net idea.
Well, the bigger net is, I don't think it's the net so much here. There's a bigger net idea that is going on in hockey and lacrosse. They talk about bigger nets. Here, I don't think it's the net so much. It's the ability to get. You can just clear the ball. You can just kick it out of bounds, sail it into the crowd, do whatever you want, and you don't really get penalized for that.
Yeah, it surely doesn't seem like lacrosse needs any help scoring.
Lacrosse, I watch the indoor lacrosse at night when there's not much else on. It's kind of fun to watch.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah, lacrosse is not boring. And I'll tell you what, there's some physicality in that game.
Oh, I've had a chance to talk a little physicality here in this game as well. Bodies hitting the ground. But I had a chance to watch Denver, the Pioneers, certainly the best college lacrosse team west of the Mississippi, Dan. And actually they had won the national championship a couple of years back. And there's a tackle right there without the ball, making contact with the ball. And
I think because he made contact, there was no foul. But it's Northgate's possession until something else happens, and they're going to have to play with this injured player on the field.
Boy, but no real advantage right now.
Now they're going to stop it.
Here we go.
I think
that was an ugly one.
I think he made contact with the ball, and that's why it's not a foul.
See, I did not see that. I did not think he made contact with the ball.
I don't know, but that would be the only thing I know, unless he called it a 50-50 ball, you know.
But still,
Oh, no, wait, he gave him.
there is a yellow
he gave
card.
Him a yellow card, yeah. Okay, so he did not make contact with the ball. He just waited till that position. So he made that contact. If you make contact with the ball, it is not a penalty unless it's a flagrant
Right.
Injury type thing. And that's more probably to the head as opposed to the legs. You make contact with the ball, then the leg, there's usually not a yellow card. But he just waiting for the play to stop to book the player. So. And I don't think that was intentional. That was he was trying to play the ball, and he just hit him, and sometimes that's a sacrifice you make.
I had a chance to talk about Ben Borland a little bit, second-year varsity player, outside midfielder. 7 goals and 6 assists for Ben on the year. One of the senior captains. Missed a large part of his freshman year, Dan, as when goes down into the corner. He had an injury, but has grown and worked into a top player in the league. And he has scored goals in many of the most important games. 2 at Ignacio Valley in a 4-3 to win. 1 at Camp Alindo in a 5-1 win. And 1 against Northgate when these two teams met early in the season that resulted, of course, in a 1-1 tie. This one going to be kicked and will come out of bounds here.
I also think, Tony, that if you wear jerseys that we can't see their numbers, you start 1 goal down. That's one of my.
Hey, wait, game's over.
Yeah, this game might be on. I can't read your numbers. It's 1-0 visitors.
Throw in for the Broncos from the near side. A bit off the mark, and Las Lomas going to kick it out of bounds
now, do you see what I'm saying? Put the ball there, not there.
I agree.
Yeah, I think that would be a simple thing.
Actually, and to tell you the truth, Dan, I don't think you should be able to just kick it out of bounds intentionally.
Well, that's, like I said, that's something you deal with in other sports where it can be considered a delay game. They won't change the offside rule. For some reason, that's some sort of sacred thing that was brought in during the Spanish Revolution or something. To
tell you the truth, Dan, the way it's expanding and the popularity with it around the world, and now a resurgence here in popularity in America, why change it? Sounds like it's going pretty well for them.
It's still, at one point, the Americans tried to kind of Americanize the game. They wanted to gain the game on penalty kicks, so there was always a winner or a loser, which, I don't know. I think I like to know who's going to win. Although I always say, especially in hockey during a shootout, it's a great thing if you win or you watch another team do it. But when your team loses, you're not real happy about it. And so that's kind of the thing here. And maybe it was the points. Maybe you shouldn't get the same amount of points. It's there's debates, and there'll always be debates about it.
Now, if the sport was struggling to find an audience, Dan, especially here in the United States, where we want to see more scoring, they joust for it there, and bodies hit the ground.
Nice move by the ref there.
But other than that, Dan, you got to give them a good reason to change. And this was going to be a handball, I believe, as it bounced up, and it looked like it caught one of the Knights on the hand, and that looked like it was Nick Serdan, one of the captains. So Zach Lamb will have a chance to kick this one away. But, you would just think of the nature of soccer and trying to get American fans excited. You want to create more scoring.
Well, and like I said, they look at other things. They've looked at penalty kicks to win games. They've looked at taking the guy off for 2 minutes like you do in a hockey game or a lacrosse game.
I think there should be a penalty box for sure.
As opposed to a yellow card, you get 2 minutes off. You play with an extra man.
I agree. Power play should be a part of it, no doubt.
Then you get FIFA involved, and every time I see FIFA, it's always just no. FIFA means no.
But FIFA being the governing body for the pretty much world soccer, they're not going to change anything because in other countries, Dan, this is a religion.
And you can't really play 30 minutes of overtime because so many games tie, you would be killing people.
Right.
You'd have to change the substitution rule, maybe to 5 substitutions per game, so that if you went to overtime, you could less physically adaptable to that situation would be able to be taken out of the game. There's so many different things you could do. Not much of it gets done, so pretty much remains the same.
I had my, opinions on how they could up the scoring, but this is the way it is, and as long as the ball is around the goal a lot, it's still exciting. Like when we did the Clayton Valley Northgate game, here comes a chance, and knocked away at the last moment. Nicely done by Las Lomas, and it looked like that was number 10, Miles Ramos, who really saved the day that time.
Well, they call the back end sweepers, and that's what he did right there.
He swept
that ball right out of there, and that was a beautiful defensive play.
It was.
You see, anytime it gets around, and that's probably the main thing, it takes so long to get the ball down towards the scoring area. Whereas, in football, you can start on the 20 and score on an 80-yard play. Here, it takes a while, but the build, as you said, the minute it gets in the goal box, there's a build to it. There's an anticipation to it. And even if you make a good defensive play, it's an exciting play to watch. I do have one, though, for you, Tony. This is going to really change things for people that like to watch sports. But in Major League Baseball, in the minors this year, they're going to try out a rule. It's like the old international rule in softball where you start the extra innings with a runner at second. They're going to try it in minor league baseball.
We used to do that in softball.
Yeah, if it speeds up the game, because I guess one of the big complaints is the game is too long. So, so when you go and you spend $150 for a seat, $22 for a Coke and a hot dog, you want to leave. You do not want to stay and watch that extra inning game, which is usually the most exciting part of a game because you got like the 9th pitcher in, and but nope, we're going to try the international rule.
I'm not a big fan of those kind of modified situations. I don't like if somebody picks up an RBI or run scored on your stat sheet when, they just put you out there. I'm not a big fan of the overtime rules in college football when they start on the 25-yard line.
Oh, I love that.
Not a big fan of those at all.
I know who would be a big fan of that right now. The Atlanta Falcons fan base would be a big fan of that, Tony. I just don't think it's fair that you don't get a chance. It's the only sport where you literally don't get a chance.
But I like the fact that it's if you go down and score a touchdown, you want a chance, don't let them score a touchdown. Here's one coming to the near side. And this one will roll out of bounds. It'll be a throw-in here for the Broncos.
I agree with you on that point about putting the guy at second, but one thing they're supposed to do this year, I think it got adapted, is there's no more intentional walks. You just put the guy at first base.
So they're not going to throw 4 wide ones.
They say that just as a waste of time.
And it really is.
So I agree with that part. I'd rather do that. Or
I have never seen when the ball has actually been thrown away at a situation like that.
I've seen it a couple, but I mean,
really?
What is it, 0.1% of the time? That's not worth keeping the rule for. But that was a quick throw-in.
Now, I do remember in the Bad News Bears when Kelly Leak reached out and hit that ball and nearly had an inside-the-park home run to beat the Yankees. I remember that.
My brother was like that, and when he was at 12, he was a legend in minor Little League. He had like 20 home runs, and someone tried to pitch him outside. He reached out and it went over the center field fence. But that's hard to do when the ball's being delivered at, like it can be. Now, here's either a free or indirect kick here, which we don't get very often, especially from this distance, Tony. This is outside about the 30-yard line.
This one pops up. Can they get ahead on it? Barely. Ball down. And the Knights able to knock it away momentarily. Broncos looking for that centering pass. And the Knights able to get it out of the zone here.
Tim Weidiger with the defensive play in the corner.
But you can just hear, Dan, the crowd get very excited when the ball's down near that goal area. And here are the Knights, and there's no offsides here. They're going to chase it down, but they are not going to be able to get to it before it goes out of bounds. And that was George Antonisov, Dan, trying to chase that one down. And how many times have we seen the Knights unable to chase a ball down here either the end line or the sideline when they had a chance to score?
Feels a little slick because that ball's taken a nice little bounce. As the great Steve Sanchez would have said, Tony, if he was here, that ball's rolling near Ignacio Valley Road, Dan.
Throw-in here upcoming for the Broncos. 0-0 here from Northgate High School. Of course, last week with the
Are you going to confuse
game.
us even further? 0-0.
And, of course, we had 5 goals scored last week, Dan, and we had so many really quality scoring. We've had a couple here tonight, but it seemed like we were having one every few minutes.
I think we've only
last
had
week.
maybe one in this game. Oh, well, it was already 2-0, I think, in that game, or 2-1 because Clayton scored a goal too. So, yeah, we already had 3 goals at this point last week. But I had a feeling this was going to be a little bit more of a defensive. Oh, that's a
that
nice
looked like
pass.
offside there to
he
me.
was there.
And this one's going to be hit left-footed and just does miss. Wide to the right. And there was no offsides. I thought he was past the last defender.
I think you got to
Dylan
remember
Burke.
it's on the delivery, not
when the pass reaches
when the
the
pass
last
is made,
player.
you can still be, and then you can go in front of him once the kick is made. And I think he was just onside, and he just missed that goal.
Boy, Burke had a great opportunity. Used the left foot, and it was just a little bit wide of that far post. So Grant Darling breathing a sigh of relief as he boots this one to midfield. That was very close to a 1-0 game here in favor of the Broncos. Okay, Knights on the attack now, and this one kicked again too hard, and Zach Lamb, he'll come off his line to pick up that ball, still in his box. Puts the left foot to this one. This one for the Broncos, played off the chest, but right to a Knights player. Good looking footwork there by the Broncos. Down to the near side, looking for that crossing pass. And broken up by Las Lomas at the last moment. This one kept in, and this one kicked over the crossbar of the football goal post.
I was going to say not a goal, but a 27-yard field goal drilled right down the middle.
And that when you're trying to kick that ball from that far out, Dan, you want to put a lot of heat on it, but it's really hard to keep it low.
If you don't get the old bend 'em like Beckham kind of move, where it kind of goes up and then drops down, it's going to sail.
So the Broncos, after seeing so much of the action in their zone, have now kind of turned that around of late, and they've been playing in the Knights zone here quite a bit in the last several minutes, but still no goals to show for it. But Dylan Burke nearly had the go-ahead goal moments ago, and what clearly was the best chance for a score here so far tonight.
Well,
Knights.
Tony, since once again here we don't have a clock, and we don't know how much time's left in the half, but I will say I think due to let's watch this.
Grant's coming off his line, bumped into by a Bronco offensive player, and a good decision by Darling to come off the line there and made the right decision there to come out and play that ball. So very successful there. And
I was going to say, if we're judging this, Tony, on points, I think we have to award the first half to Northgate 10-9 on that one attempt. That came closer than anything else. Other than that, I'd pretty much call it a draw.
Boy, this one tapped back to Zach Lamb, and of course he can't pick up the ball at that point when your own man kicks the ball back to your goalie. And they had one of the Knights was really bearing. That was actually a very dangerous situation right there.
Look at the flag right down here. Matt, can you get a shot of that flag right here? Just real quick. Well, okay, it's not. I guess if you draw, when you can. Like the wind really picked up here. There was no wind at all when I walked in here. Yeah, where's Ron Carter when you need him?
Cutbacks.
Right there. We had it in the frame for about half a second. You saw that flag move.
Down the near side, a little give and goal, and they go back into the corner. Can they chase it down? They can. Broncos trying to keep it alive. There's that centering pass, but booted away by the Knights.
You see how that pass, instead of bending into the players, kind of curved away and right into a defender.
Boy, this one over the head of a defender. Broncos with a chance, and then nicely broken up. Good defense. Trying to see who that was for the
Well, number
Knights
4
who
is
broke it
Ryan
up.
Rue down there. I think it was 15 again, Whitinger, who's been down there. Las Lomas' defense has played some pretty good positional defense. There's the flag. It was blowing a lot better about 2 minutes ago, but you can see there is a little bit of wind in the area. Maybe in advance of tomorrow's storm, Tony. And Tony, you got to tell everyone about our big Friday night we got coming up here, too. We're going to tape some games for next week, too.
Battle of the Creek, doubleheader basketball, boys and girls. We'll have the girls game first, and then we'll have the boys game following that. So more Battle of the Creek coming up here. We'll do it on Friday, and then Matt will have it for you.
The creek is full.
The creek is full, Matt wanted it to. Walnut Creek is full.
Full of it.
There's a lot of water places that are full right now. Some amazing video last night on the news of some of the storm areas. Oh, nice. They got numbers. They got a 3-on-2, 4-on-2.
Lomas.
Oh.
Northgate cannot break this one up. Racing down the far side and going in there to make a nice defensive play to break this up here momentarily for the Broncos, trying to see what number that is. And well, that's a little difficult, as we mentioned here. But the Broncos going to get a chance to throw this one in.
That was Harry Gardner, made a nice play. That's it. Halftime.
And that will do it for the first half. No score here on the Battle of the Creek.
I don't get to do a scoring recap?
No, not necessary. We'll come back. We'll have the second half. Walnut Creek TV, where TV comes home. And the Broncos and the Knights, no score after the first half.
Bro, I don't know. I honestly don't think we should have had Jessica drive.
Yeah, bro, Katie's about to be so fun. It's so worth it right now.
I'm really in the movie right now,
careful,
dude.
bro.
This is awesome. Oh god, everything's so
14
moving
left.
so
Oh,
fast.
he's gonna stop sign.
Hello.
I think we're fine.
Oh, okay. I'll tell you about it. Oh my god.
It's act normal.
I'm fine.
How you guys doing?
Doing pretty good, officer.
Good. Hey, the reason I stopped you is kind of rolled that stop sign back there. Do you have your license registration?
Yeah. That one.
Is that your license right there? In your hand?
Oh yeah.
If I could grab that from you real quick. And Nick, is it?
Yeah, Nick.
Nick, how much have you had to drink tonight?
I haven't had anything to drink.
Nothing to drink at all? How about you over there? Did you drink something?
Nah, I haven't drinking anything.
Because I'm smelling alcohol coming from the car. Is there a reason for that?
I haven't had any.
Nothing at all? Go ahead and come on out. We'll do some field sobriety tests, and we'll find out where you're at. Okay? Turn right here for me. See where my light is? Right here for me. Look where my light is.
All right, yeah.
See?
Right here.
Okay. Go ahead whenever you're ready.
All right.
Deep breath in, blow. Keep going, keep going, keep going. That's the thing, is you have to kind of recognize what it is you're drinking when you're drinking and maybe call for a designated driver or a taxi, right?
Oh yeah.
All right.
watching you, watching you, watching you. When you pollute, you play with lives. You can make us all sick, and you know that ain't right. Oh, Dan, we need to know that you're changing your ways, or we're gonna go turn you in, and you'll pay a big fine. No, you can't escape our eyes. Oil busters, we're watching you. We see your every move. Oil busters, we're watching you. Oil busters, we're watching you, watching you, watching you, watching you. A message from the Contra Costa Clean Water Program and Cal Recycling.
And back for the second half here at Northgate High School. Battle the Creek tonight. The Northgate Broncos and the Las Lomas Knights. Anthony Schultz along with Dan Wall right here on Walnut Creek TV. 0-0.
You just gave away the scoring recap.
And it was Dylan Burke who had probably the best opportunity, certainly the best opportunity.
He's our player of the game.
He missed just wide to the right on one that was a very close call. But other than that, the scoring opportunities have been tough to come by. Zach Lamb, a couple of saves, but nothing more than routine, I would say, for Zach. And most of the action and the early part of the game had been down in the Broncos zone, and then that kind of switched, and it was down in the Las Lomas zone as they battle for it here on the sideline. Throw in here for the Knights, and a whistle will stop play. So, kind of sort of back and forth, and to look like the Broncos, the Knights had the advantage early on, Dan, and then it looked like the Broncos kind of outplayed them there, the latter stages of that first half.
But I wouldn't go up and say this game isn't much more than even right now. It's been very
very
close.
Even.
And it was 1-1 in their first game, so I guess that kind of tells you where these two teams are in comparison.
Here are the Broncos playing it back. Now sending it down. They can get some offense here. And just slap it out of bounds there for Las Lomas. There's Tim Weldinger.
The thing about both of these teams, both have good goaltending. Both have very active defense. They get back on defense well, clear balls out of their defensive zone. They're not as, scoring-wise, Las Lomas obviously has had an opportunity. But in a playoff game, you don't want to play a team like this because then all it takes is one play, one mistake to lose a game. Because defense, and especially at that level, you get to the playoffs, it's going to be a lot tougher to score.
Las Lomas taking a look at their game log. They, of course, tied Northgate. We talked about that 1-1 game earlier in the season back on January the 20th. For the Knights, they won 3 of 4, December 3rd through the 10th. That was including a 5-0 shutout in which, after being shut out by Lafayette by the Dons 4-0. They won 3 of 4 again December the 15th through January the 3rd. And that includes a win in Novato 2-1,
your old
alma mater,
stomping grounds, Tony.
and a blowout win at home against Hayward, where they beat the Farmers 7-1. That one really jumped off the screen at me. They come in struggling a bit, Dan, in the 10 matches since that Hayward win. They've only have 2 victories. That was at YV on January the 11th, a 2-1 win, and at Campo, a 5-1 win. And in that time, Dan, they've been shut out by Clayton Valley Charter and College Park. They won their only win, Dan, actually was by forfeit over Kennedy of Fremont, and they'll close out the season against Campolindo on Friday night. That will be in Walnut Creek.
Any truth to the rumor you were recently inducted into the Smoking in the Parking Lot Hall of Fame at Nevada High School?
Was not a smoke. We had a smoking section.
Really? You guys
We
could
had a
actually,
smoking
you could actually
section.
smoke.
And the campus was open back in those days.
When at Antioch in the 70s, we had an area where non-smokers could go because everyone else smoked. It didn't matter.
No, I mean, like the teachers could smoke in the classroom.
I know.
Like in the old days.
Well, they used to.
You know?
That used to be the big thing, right? When they were in the teachers' lounge, and you'd go in and see who's smoking the cigarettes.
Battle forward on the far side. Both teams trying to muster some offense here. Looking footwork there, but this one's going to go out of bounds. The Broncos will have a chance to throw it in on the Knights side of the field.
It's funny you should say that, though, Tony, but watching how well trained and these players are, I don't know how anyone could try to sneak a cigarette in at this point and try to play this game. I just don't see how it could happen. You have to be able to run up and down the field consecutively. You could do it 10 times in a row.
They do get a lot of periods, too, where they can glide, but then just with a moment's notice, you're in full sprint mode.
Yeah. Like right now.
Trying to get a centering pass, and this one's going to go wide of the goal. And that's been one of the things we have not seen a lot tonight, Dan. I don't believe we've actually seen a corner kick yet. And
we have not seen a corner kick.
On the
No,
flank.
wait. Maybe one. I think one down here.
Did we get one down here? Okay.
But you're right. It's been very limited.
But we have not seen the players able to run down the flanks and get that centering pass. The defenders have been right with them, and they are not able to get that angle to actually, get that ball going across the goal, which makes it so dangerous for the goalie.
Well, if you remember the Northgate girls last week, that seemed to be their main offensive, not necessarily play, but weapon was to go down the side. And they had a couple of really good players. You remember the police chief's daughter. We always mention him because he's the police chief. But she made a couple of nice plays down there. I think she scored a couple of goals. And but they kind of came in off that corner and picked up the ball and then sent it across. We haven't seen a lot of that tonight.
No.
There hasn't been a lot of
and it's really been the defense that's thwarted that so many times, because we've seen it race down the sidelines on several occasions, but they just cannot race the defender enough to get that centering pass. And this one's going to go out of bounds here on the near side, and we'll have a throw in here for Las Lomas.
And I'm not going to lie to you and tell you that I am the world's greatest soccer strategist. I understand the game, but some guys could break this down in a heartbeat in 5 minutes, and me and you were still trying to figure out just exactly why that
Who
last
was he?
pass. Yeah,
Who did it? Who's playing?
That last play went across. So, hey, for all we know, Tony, the minute they hear us on these games, they hit the mute button and just sit and listen to music while they're watching. We don't know.
In Scully.
Yeah.
Headed backwards. And Zach Lamb will catch this one in the air. He'll give this one as good. Probably his best punt of the day.
That was a huge punt.
That was,
Man,
boy,
look at that.
Look where that one went. Now that's the
It
three-quarter.
landed. It went almost 60 yards in the air.
That's the 3/4 of the field kick right there.
And then the wind is with him to his back, like we said. He might not just play D1 soccer. He might, the football coach might want to have a chat with him. Can you come out on Saturdays and just kick that like that every time? And
well, here's a corner kick.
Oh, yeah.
So I think this will be the second one for the Broncos. Still none for Las Lomas. Now the bodies gather in front of the goal, and here it is. And this is going to be up and over everybody, and this will go out of bounds. Boy, not a good effort that time by the Broncos.
In a game like this, it's so tight, you do not want to waste your opportunities. And that one was just a little bit too much. Just as the great Bob Uecker once said.
Just a bit over his head.
There you go. Thank you. Thank you, Tony.
Bob Uecker, yeah.
So, Tony, on Friday night, it's a triple hitter for Dan, reffing the JV game and broadcasting both the varsity games. I don't know if I've ever had an opportunity like that. I will not wear my ref uniform. Then I can't say one bad thing about the refs. I'll be destroyed by my own association. I can't say anything about them now, but just imagine if I wore my ref's uniform.
This one back to Grant. He tries to get it to a teammate. And off the foot of Ben Borland, off his right foot, and will go out of bounds. A throw-in upcoming here for the Broncos from the near side. And this one will roll out of bounds again.
Here we got here's how, I kind of like this with the subs too. You get to just kind of come in when someone's a little tired and give them a break.
I've not had a chance to call Adrian Ortiz's number here for Northgate.
See, the difference in the substitution patterns, Tony, is in this game it's more for if you're tired, it seems like, or you've ran a lot, or you're just worn down a little bit. When you have three, you really have to strategize because you have to keep your subs. What if you're down by a goal late and you want to bring in some offensive help? What if you're up by a goal late and you want to bring in another defensive midfielder? What if someone gets hurt? Because say you've already used your subs and a guy gets hurt, you play a man down. It's just that's just how soccer is put together.
Free kick here for Ryan Rue. Pops this one into the air, but headed away by Las Lomas. Headed back. A lot of heads on this one, and it'll go out of bounds. So Adrian Ortiz, one of the center backs and the captain. Coaches say he's the best player in the league, 6'2", 170 pounds. And there has been a D1 coach at the last 3 games for Northgate, and supposedly one here tonight looking at him. And a guy who defends really well and reads the game well, and a guy who's going to be playing at the next level when his high school career is done.
Well, another guy you can see size-wise, he has that size for tall, lanky, good speed. Plays in that center back, defensive back position on defense for them, right in the middle of the field. So he's making most of the important plays, as we talked about. This, I like that name too, the sweeper. I'm surprised no one's ever named a team that
There's a cross, and this one is right in front of the goal. Can they put one more foot on it? And this one's got to find the net. It's a score for Las Lomas, and they take the 1-0 lead.
Well, Tony, in that scramble, it was difficult to identify, but everyone's going crazy for Pasa Mabuye. Is that Mabule? Who has scored 7 goals on the season, and I think he just got his 8th. And that was simply out of a scramble, and that just Lamb could not control the rebound, and finally it was put in. That's where the sweeper did not come into to play. So we're going to get some footage from that shot. We're going to get some really close footage from that shot, but not today. Join us on Tuesday when we're on the internet. Those are the tough ones too, because you really can't blame the goaltender. He's not really in the position to make a save. If he does, it's usually some spectacular save. Northgate went right back down and got a shot off, but it was over the net. But and that's usually what decides these close games, is some little goal that. Now it's 1-1. No, it's still 1-0. So that goal was scored by Mabuye, number 9 for Las Lomas.
So the Knights break on top, but a nice comeback for the Broncos. Didn't quite get the shot on goal, but did have the opportunity the other way, but they were denied. So 1-0 in favor of Las Lomas. Throw in by the Knights.
I think that should be what we try to direct these guys in the future too. If you score the goal, run away from everyone so we can pick you out of the pack.
Or raise your hand and wave to us.
Yeah. It was me, guys.
Point to yourself.
And so now for Northgate, generating some offense becomes the main topic of discussion for Coach Chappell. Needs to get some offensive players, and they need to get some control of the ball down in their end, because the field is tipped once again, Tony, to the side where we thought a lot of the offense was coming, and Northgate needs to get the ball down into that into the scoring position, so to speak.
Whistle stops this one when it looked like the Broncos were going to. Well, they were actually going 1-on-2, but they had someone else trailing that play to make it a 2-on-2 breakaway. But they're going to bring this one back, and the Broncos will have a free kick. So the Broncos 8 ties this year, and because the league, Diablo Athletic League in the Valley Division, one of the toughest around. Most lopsided game this year was that loss to College Park, 3-0. So they have played a lot of tight ball games here this year.
So Dylan Burke is coming back in. There's a guy that came close to scoring a goal. Missed just by inches. Matt he knows everyone. You know that? He knows Dylan Burke is your neighbor, Matt?
No, I looked at got Dio.
Oh, okay. Well, I can't pronounce it either, but that was a pretty good try.
Throw in here from the far side. And this one will go out across the end line. And a chance for Darling to possibly boot this one away. Let's see how he handles this. There's some battle for it, and this one's sent forward. Broncos trying to get a running start here. Nice footwork. Get this one to the near sideline. And a one-on-one situation. Good footwork, but nicely defended, and Las Lomas able to break that one up.
Ooh. Nice play there. There's 23 Ortiz.
And here's a centering pass. This one going to be knocked away by Las Lomas.
And now we'll get a corner.
Go over the net. So a corner here on the far side for the Broncos.
Ooh, another yellow card.
For this.
Number 10. That's an important guy down there for Las Lomas. That's Miles Ramos who got a yellow card and is getting sent off. I guess that's another thing, too. You get a yellow card here, you have to go sit out for a certain amount of time. I don't know if it's just it's a cool-off period, which Matt had to put me on a couple times back in the 2000s working with Sanchez.
Kind of like giving your kid a timeout.
A timeout.
Corner kick for the Broncos. It is headed. And this one will not go goalward, but another chance here. Knocked out of bounds again here by Las Lomas. Knights defense playing well. Andrew Reese again. We've seen him do that a few times, thwarting the Bronco offensive efforts. Boy, the Broncos just cannot get this one off the sideline right now.
They've had that problem. They really haven't been able to, and even the shot they had, the close shot, was from distance, but they have not been able to drop that ball into the goalie box ever and challenge Darling to much more than a simple save.
Boy, and another one coming out of bounds, and this is kind of like a pinball with those magnets in it going down the side each time, and again, the Broncos will play this one off the near sideline.
That looked like a set play right there.
And this one over the end line, and the Knights will control. Haven't had a chance to call Grant McCarger's name yet. We talked about him a little bit, the super soft. Are these guys able to play the ball in the air really well? Able to get your head on the ball and actually that ability to pass the ball. Here's trying a centering pass right there for Las Lomas, but broken up by the Broncos. This one going to be dumped back in. Oh, the Knights going to have a chance here. Play it off the chest. Now here down the side. Headed away by the Broncos. And they're trying to clear it out of the zone here, having a little bit of difficulty. And this kick trying to get it down the field. This one's going to go out of bounds, and Las Lomas will have a chance to throw this one in. So Selection Sunday coming up. We have a chance to talk about that a little bit. Just wondering where these teams will end up in terms of the seeding.
This is a sport I don't think they go past North Coast. You would think that this is a thing you could play in the state because it's not a physical game like football is, but they don't extend the season as far as football now. They almost play similar seasons to the NFL. If you go to the state championship, teams are playing 14, 15 games now. It's amazing.
Wow, like a lot of football for some of those youngsters to play.
I don't know if you saw this stat, interesting high school stat, but a guy in L.A. last night, Tony, scored 92 points in a basketball game.
Wow.
Sophomore.
Did not see that.
And he has a nickname that kind of looks like either Vaughn or LeBron, or it kind of falls into that category. I just happened to notice it today. I'll have to pick his name off, but there's the coach on the other side with his brain trust.
Coaching since 1972. He has seen a few soccer games in his day.
Yeah. I've seen a few soccer games in my day, Tony. He's seen way more than a few.
Oh, this one popped into the air.
He tried that little pooch kick there, and Zach started to read it. He didn't need to. Went over the back, though. But Northgate's got, we always dial it up about this time, 10 minutes left in the game down in San Jose. They need to show a little intensity right now. A little intensity. Dial up the temperature on this field a little bit. They need to get down and get some scoring going. This is a good start right here.
Here are the Broncos. They've got some numbers. That one was kicked to the center, but Las Lomas able to kick it away momentarily. Can't clear. Broncos trying to keep this one in, trying to look for that centering pass, but just too many defenders there. It's going to go out of bounds. Last touch by Northgate, so the Broncos will be able to throw it in.
I wish I had one of those little teleprompters right there. Could have used it right there to show you how the second defenseman came over to make the play once they got by the first guy, which is really nice defense. Yeah, the teleprompter.
Teleprompter just shows you the words.
Okay. Well, maybe you need both for me. I don't know. The telestrator. We won't be seeing many telestrators for a while now. The football's done.
Nice job with a left-footed kick here.
Ooh.
And, boy, that was staying in the zone.
Oh.
Here's one that's going to be headed away before it got to the
defensive
goal.
Play. Oh, yeah.
Very well played by the Knights defense. It looked like Andrew Reese got a piece of that one before it went goalward.
I don't know if he got a piece of it or it got a piece of him, but it didn't go in. But that was a nice play.
And now another corner kick upcoming for the Broncos, and I believe this is number 4 for them, and this will be the third one of this half Here it is, and this one is going to be headed to the center and then headed again and then just wide of the left post.
Oh, my. They have just barely missed. That was Lucas Rodriguez coming over. You don't often see a header to a header. That's a very unusual play. And it just missed. I mean, they just missed 2 goals in this game.
Oh, that was huge right there. We talked about the one with Dylan Burke in the first half when he, with his left foot, just did miss that right post on the other side.
You know, they add injury time in soccer. Do they add chase the ball time? I just wonder because, I mean, sometimes it's amazing that they just can't keep one extra ball and a couple kids down there to hand it to them. Time ran out when Darling had to chase the ball down to Rocco's Restaurante and Pizzeria, a great friend of the program.
Broncos trying to mount an attack. You can hear the fans here on the Broncos side getting a bit antsy now.
Well, that was a good play-in, but they just couldn't get it to the spot. They need to get one of those that kind of drifts off to a wing, and then they can make a cross like this.
Some nice dribbling there, and that ball a little bit too hard into the middle. Bounced off one of the Bronco players, and it'll go out of bounds. And
yes, someone's over there.
Grant Darling will chase it down.
Grant he's not going to go chase anything down. He's going to walk over there and get it as casually as he can and then take his kick.
And he is in no rush here. Substitution coming here for the Broncos. 1-0. This one's going to go out of bounds again. Las Lomas several minutes ago coming up with the only goal of the game.
I'm looking here, Tony, because I've been hearing a different name. I think maybe even Matt can help us here. 14 is not Rodriguez, huh? Yeah. Yeah, Delvedillo, which is not on my roster. As you can see, it clearly says Lucas Rodriguez right there. Yeah. So I'm sorry to Lucas Rodriguez, Delvedillo, and anyone else I've messed up over the years. Delvedillo. Delgadillo.
We'll get it right. Just keep trying.
Well, I was trying to get my dad's name in there. He's Del. Delgadillo. Yeah, it's amazing. I get, Max Preps is very, very good, but sometimes Delgadillo. Delgadillo. Any relation to Ronnie? No, Delgadillo. Yes, I just noticed that when he came off the field, but and Tony is my witness, Lucas. It says Lucas Rodriguez. So sorry about that.
So, and this one going to go down into the corner. They can't catch up to that one. So it's Parsa Maboulier with the only goal so far. Parsa's first season on the varsity. And as a starting striker, he scored 7 goals with 5 assists. He got his 8th tonight. Big, strong player who could equally play well with his back to the goal or facing the goal. Now in his junior year, and right now his goal, the difference in the game. Here's one coming out of the corner here. Broncos can't make much out of that one. So some of these opportunities that they have had with a corner kick stand have not worked out real well.
I haven't really gotten it into that dangerous position where you drop it down into that what you probably call the red zone, where you really want to. You get multiple guys down there. You've got the ability to make maybe a pass this way or that way.
Oh, that one is going to bounce over the head of the defender. And then Las Lomas able to get a couple of bodies out there in front and then kick it away.
Tell you what, great game so far. Andrew Reese again got back on defense.
Yeah, he has had a fantastic game defensively tonight.
Well, they're back. We were talking about that last week. Sometimes it's hard in a soccer game to see the separation between defense, midfield, striker, unless it's really pronounced. Las Lomas' back 4 have played really well tonight, matching up against Northgate's forwards. They've been able to come in and even double team the ball. That's why they don't have a goal right now.
And the Broncos, and again, trying to get the ball down this near side. And it just seems like if you beat one defender, then there's always another or two coming at you. Just cannot get those clear crossing passes, Dan, and they cannot get that ball into any open space.
And when they've had a couple of chances, they've come very, very close to scoring, but just hasn't been their night so far.
Good look at footwork right there, but there's a defender who kind of break up that give-and-go pass.
See, there's always two guys on the ball.
Here's one dumped in, and Grant Darling going to come out there and make the catch in the air. Not exactly sure how much time is left with the scoreboard still out. But it is getting to be crunch time here for the Broncos. Nice give and go there. Left a little bit too long, and it's going to go out of bounds. So just a little too much steam on that pass as the Broncos looked like they had a shot to get the ball down the near side, Dan, and it looked like that time they would have had the angle to get that crossing pass.
Yeah, that field has got to be just a touch slick, Tony, with all the rain we've had. You can see it when it takes that bounce, it skips almost like a rock on a river. Yeah, Northgate's now, I got to say we're within 10 minutes. Got to be inside 10 minutes.
Tapped around. The Knights trying to get control of this one here down the sideline. And that will go out of bounds. And last touch by Las Lomas. So Northgate will have a chance to throw this one in. Still 1-0 here in the Battle of the Creek. Right here on Walnut Creek TV. Anthony Schultz along with Dan Wall. Doubleheader basketball coming up for you as well. Girls and the boys will battle. We'll have that one on Friday, and shortly thereafter, you'll be able to watch it on Walnut Creek TV.
And YouTube.
And YouTube. There's Zach Lamb kicking it away, and Zach has really had a quiet second half. He's really kept to himself quite a bit.
Except for that one chance that Northgate couldn't corral, and neither could he. That's why we stand here 1-0.
Yeah, that was really certainly the best scoring opportunity. Well, the second, one of the two best scoring opportunities. Of course, the Knights able to tally one. This one pinballs around on that far side. And then the Broncos out of a crowd, and now nice footwork there. Can they get that one? And it's going to be to a wide to the left. That was coming toward the side of the goal. But, that looked like a pretty good opportunity right there. Again, the Knights dodge yet another bullet. So the Broncos have been able to put on some pressure here offensively. Have not, however, found the back of the net.
Well, that was another great defensive play, pushing the Northgate guy outside and not able to get a kick into the goal box where Darling was positioned that time. But they're doing a great job on that. And they're not that big. That's something that's kind of interesting as you look at them. They're small guys, but they're quick, and they're getting in there and they're making the plays. That's all you can ask.
And this one going to be sent out of bounds. Started out as a fairly, not a warm evening certainly, but it wasn't cold, and temperature since we've arrived has certainly dropped quite a bit. The wind has now actually died down a little bit. It was blowing sort of from our left to our right. Now it's subsided a little bit, and there's another one of those kick out of bounds. That was Parsa Babula again.
Or, another idea that was floated around at one time, Tony, was putting a little barrier around the field to keep the ball in.
That would be great, I think.
Just maybe 3 feet high, but something to give you a boundary and so the play doesn't stop so often.
Yeah, I totally agree.
It's like I said.
That would be fantastic.
There are people that would never do that.
Well,
it's sacrilegious.
You have your traditionalists, Dan. I remember going back years ago where talk about in baseball certainly has their share of traditionalists when some people still argue about interleague play, and now we have a body hitting the ground.
I just think there's some things you could do to make the game a little bit more. I mean, I'm not asking for the game to be 8-7. 2-1 sometimes would be a nice score.
But I think sometimes, Dan, when you watch hockey, and certainly you can have your 1-0 hockey game, but you could very easily have your 6-5 hockey game.
You do have it. There is a chance, at least. Soccer, when you see someone, it's almost like a miracle if you see over 4 goals. You think, wow, man, what an offensive explosion.
It's like scoring 45 points in a football game. This one's going to go out of bounds on the far side.
It's kind of like if you look at the NBA. What have been the 2 times that the interest in the NBA was really, really, really at the level it is like now? And that's when the scoring was up.
Sure.
Early 80s and today. You look at, used to be, I remember, Indiana would play Atlanta, it'd be 77-74. It'd be the final score. Now teams are scoring 120, 125 points a game. There's almost always around 100. People are interested because there's some scoring. It's not boring.
But even with a low-scoring basketball game, you still see the ball go in the basket a lot.
Still goes in more than this.
And then, not only that, because, it's much harder with soccer because you can't use your hands unless you're a goalie. With basketball, you're seeing some of those great athletic, creative plays more often per minute.
Well, I'll leave the hands thing in. That's a unique feature of the game. I don't mind that one. That would be fun if you could pick the ball up and throw it to that guy right now.
No, but I mean, just when you're watching a basketball game and you see these guys jump and create plays the way they do, and here's a chance this one's going to be knocked out of bounds. So as a few minutes go by in a basketball game, you could see a lot of whoa type of plays. Takes a little longer in a soccer game. I mean, what you see here in soccer is sometimes the great dribbling skills, but what kind of mutes that whole thing is the guy always turns and there's 2 defenders right there with him. We saw a couple of plays here tonight, Dan, where it looked like he had one-on-one, and the offensive player looked like he was ready to take the defensive player to the hole, so to speak. But yet, boom, there comes another defender to break it up.
No, they're interesting arguments. There's no doubt about it. And like you said, soccer is has been accepted as the 5th sport, I guess you could say. In the world, it's the 1st sport, but in America, it's the 5th sport.
Ooh, this one broken up. Nicely done by the Broncos here. This one's going to go out of bounds.
And I guess I should say team sports for all of those tennis, golf, and auto racing fans. Ping pong, badminton, the javelin. There's a lot of things you just kind of do by yourself.
Well, I think there's always something to be said about sports where you have, when somebody's actually trying to stop you from doing what you want to do. So when you have a game like golf, nobody's actually trying to knock you down while you're trying to make your putt.
There's no goaltender in golf.
There's no goaltender in golf. Nobody's trying to sweep the ball away from the hole.
But the only thing that can stop you in golf is if the bartender turns down your next drink request.
Well, this one out of bounds again.
And Las Lomas is just content at this point right now to take the air out of the ball and hopefully no one else gets near their goaltender.
A lot of substitutions. That wastes time.
Here's a substitution for the Knights.
But
Devin Fisher coming into the ballgame. Excuse me, Dan,
I'm sorry.
ahead.
I was just going to say, but I read a story not too long ago about the top 10 attended leagues, and pretty much half of them are soccer leagues, especially the European soccer leagues.
Right.
Per attendance per game. outside of probably the NFL, they're right there. Australian Rules football and the CFL, amazingly, are in the top 10, if you can believe that.
Wow. Would have thought that to be true.
Getting a little chippy down there late in the game.
Going to be a free kick here for the Broncos. Pretty deep into the Knights zone. They have a chance to see what they can make of this one. If they can just come drop it right in front of the goal. Let's see. And they are going to, and headed away by Las Lomas. And that was a great job of playing the ball in the air.
Now that was a dangerous play right there. Definitely.
Broncos going to keep this one in the zone here, and then it's going to go out of bounds, and now it's going to be a throw in here for the Knights. But boy, following that free kick, that was another good opportunity for Northgate, but Las Lomas able to get their head on the ball first. Still 1-0 in favor of the Knights. They're hoping that's going to be the final score. Here come the Broncos the other way. But broken up again by Las Lomas with some more good defense. And again, that's Andrew Reese, who's really been the outstanding player here tonight. He has broken up so many of those.
I'd give their whole back line the player of the game. Those 4 defenders have been great. We've called a number of guys back there. Weidinger.
But Reese's name has certainly come up the most, and he just made another nice play. Well, the Broncos have certainly had their chances in this game, in particular in the second half. But Reese, along with the others defensively for Northgate, been able to, or I should say for Las Lomas, have been able to turn Northgate away. And the 2-minute sign has just gone up. So crunch time here for the Broncos. Can they get the equalizer here?
Are they going to pull Lamb off the field too? You can't do it like in hockey where it's you can do it during the play where you can take a substitute off. Would you take off your goaltender right now and put an extra attacker on?
Well, you think you might want to do something like that. I mean, if you give up another goal, you'd hate to do that. But if you don't score a goal, you lose. So.
Oh, they got a 2-on-2 here and a player in front. He's offside right now, though.
Here come the Knights, and
now he's back on.
No centering pass, broken up nicely by the Broncos.
This might be their last chance right here.
Yeah, this one's going to go out of bounds. But there was another time, Dan, when running down the sideline, and with the defender stuck right on the offensive player, and the offensive player just not able to turn and make that centering pass.
And amazingly, when you look, too, I mean, Las Lomas has given up 31 goals this year. Northgate's just given up 10. You would have thought coming in that maybe Las Lomas was a little bit better offensively and Northgate defensively, but Northgate has played equally as well on defense.
Boy, here comes one into space, and then Grant going to come out and make the play. Another good decision by Grant Darling coming off his line to gather that one in, because right there, Dan, that time the ball was in open space with a one-on-one situation. So Grant really made a nice decision and a nice play right there to keep the lead at 1-0.
Yeah, the ref's looking at his clock. I bet you this is it.
Down that far sideline, and it's going to roll out of bounds.
That's it. That's the ball game.
And that will do it. So Las Lomas on the road here in the Battle of the Creek. They win this one 1-0. They tied earlier 1-1, but it is the Knights collecting the victory. And for Las Lomas, they will run their record to 3-4-2 and 11-8-3 overall. Northgate remains winless in the Valley Division. They dropped to 0-4-5 and 7-4-8 overall. Dan, a final word?
Well, let's give the player of the game, the Roccos. restaurant pepperoni pizza player of the game to Andrew Reese, because you don't normally give players of the game in this game to defensive players. You usually give it to the guy that scores the goals or the goaltender who makes all the great saves, but we did call his name a number of times tonight, and he made some great plays down there low. So Andrew Reese, you're our player of the game. And just a note that the entire defensive back for Las Lomas played a great game tonight. And both these teams will make it to the playoffs. This was one of those games, Tony, where it was just a fluky kind of goal that decided it. Probably should have ended a tie, but Las Lomas comes out on top.
Yeah, the Broncos had some opportunities, could not cash in. But like you said, Dan, the defense, a huge part for Las Lomas here tonight. Well, both teams with just one game left. Las Lomas will be playing Campo Lindo. That's on Friday. And Northgate will be at Ignacio Valley. That will be Friday as well. Well, that does it for us. For Matt Bolander, for Dan Wall, I'm Anthony Schultz for Walnut Creek TV saying good night from Northgate High School.